Thank you, Madam President and members. Firefighters bravely protect our communities and should be rewarded for keeping us safe. As a member of the Board of Supervisors and the City Council in the City of Temecula, we contracted with CalFire to provide some of the finest firefighting emergency services that you can get, not only in the state of California, but probably in the country. And what we discovered in the county and the city is that we were nothing more than a training ground for municipal fire departments that could very easily take these firefighters that were very well trained by the state and pay them more money in their respective municipalities. For years, CalFire Firefighters have been grossly underpaid. They deserve a much-needed pay bump, something I've been advocating for in the budget, including last year, so that they could be fairly compensated compared to their counterparts in local fire departments. But lumping their contract into this bill that covers more than a dozen other union contracts does our first responders a big injustice. CalFire's contract should be considered and debated as a standalone bill. Our firefighters deserve that respect. This process should be more transparent. I'm afraid that CalFire is being used to provide cover for what seems to be many other union handouts. When you take public safety contracts out of this bill, it will still cost the taxpayers of the state $5.2 billion more in raises to non-public safety employees. This includes handing out pay raises up to 26.5% and $2,500 signing bonuses to union employees represented by one of the larger unions. And I don't understand the word signing bonus because they already work for those unions and for the state. I thought these type of bonuses were reserved for professional athletes. California's budget, we all know, is already in a mess. We're coming into this fiscal year with over $1.6 billion in deficits and many misplaced priorities. A more transparent process should include a vote on each union contract. Let the merits of each contract be voted on. This would allow us to have a real debate on our budget priorities, whether they're fixing dams, fixing our infrastructure, paying for our unfunded pension liabilities. For instance, should we give bonuses and double-digit pay increases to government union employees, or use that money to make more affordable college tuition in the middle class when we hear Ms. Napolitano talk about a 5% increase in tuition? Should we give bonuses and double-digit pay increases to government union employees, or increase even just a little the rates that we pay for child care services in the state? Should we give bonuses and double-digit pay increases to government union employees, or maybe think about increasing the Medi-Cal fee, reimbursement for doctors, so we can get more health care for services in many of the rural communities that you share and I share? Many of the contracts lumped into this bill will give big raises to government union workers while our state's middle class seems to be disappearing, and that's just not right. Instead, we should be considering common sense solutions that expand the middle class, grow jobs, and make our state more affordable to live in. The bottom line, my friends, is I strongly support CalFire, and they definitely deserve a raise, but putting the contract of our first responders who risk their lives every day to protect us with more than a dozen other government unions on the same docket shows a lack of respect to public safety. Many of us had the honor and the privilege of sitting with our governor this past week, and I think one of the messages that I think the governor tried to impart on us is we have to work together. This is a very simple request. We just want to bifurcate and separate these contracts so that some of us that support some of these contracts have the opportunity to support them without having the poison pill of some bad contracts that negate our ability to vote on those. The governor said we should work together. Let's show that we can work together. Every time I've seen an amendment over the past 2 years that I've been standing on the red carpet, all the amendments have always been laid on the table. I would predict that this will probably be laid on the table. But in the spirit of bipartisanship, I hope that you won't support that. We can bifurcate this. You can vote on the contracts you want and give Republicans an opportunity to vote with you on some of those contracts for our very worthy employees in the state of California. Thank you for your consideration. I just want to make sure that my CalFire colleagues know that I support their contract, and I regret that, we couldn't reach a compromise. We talk about bipartisanship here on this floor, and frankly, it's just rhetoric, unless you need us for something. And with the president and Congress being Republican now, I think there was not a better time for us to begin to work together on our common goals and aspirations for this state. But if we're going to keep up this might is right on the floor and not try to accommodate, just basically bifurcating votes, the votes would have been the same, my friends. But we'd like to be able to show support for those employees and those contracts that we think are beneficial to the state of California. I hope that as this legislative session moves on, that there will be more real consideration to working together in a bipartisan way that is not empty promises or just rhetoric, but reality for the benefit of the constituents that we mutually all represent. I will urge a no vote.